Hey everybody. I wanted to go ahead and get us started today with a spreadsheet tutorial. Normally when we do this in class, we do something fun like some pixelated pictures or I'm going to use a calendar today particularly for second grade and up. First grade and kindergarten, you can just go ahead and stop this video now because you've clicked on the wrong one. There'll be a separate one for you. So you can do something a little more simple, but we're all going to learn the same thing, and that's really just how to use our spreadsheets. Now, those of you that's had me before, you know I prefer Microsoft Excel, but not everybody has access to that. And since we've been using Google Classroom, everybody does have access to that. So that will allow you to use Google Sheets. Now, if you're on your classroom screen, wait a minute, I set up another one just for you guys to look at. Let's go to my classes. Okay. If you're on your Google Classroom screen, it looks similar to this. And you have whatever classes you are enrolled in. And you should have my art class, my computer class, library, and then like if you're in Miss Winter's class, you're going to have one for her, or Miss Bradford, you're going to have one for her. Some of you may even have music, I'm not sure. But from this screen, here's how you get into your spreadsheet. You come over here where it says Google Apps. See where my mouse is? The little checkerboard. Click on that, and you're going to come over here and choose. You can go to Drive, but the best thing to do is just go straight to Sheets. Just click on Google Sheets. Now, it shows all kinds of stuff in here, different types of reports that you can do and templates, but we're going to go with a blank one, okay? So you click on the one that says blank. And this is what it looks like. It almost looks like graph paper. What I'm going to show you how to do today, you will learn mainly just how to move these blocks around. Now, if you click on the one like I just did, and you see this, it highlighted this entire row. This is called a row. If you click in one particular box, it's actually called a cell. I like to think of it like, in a jail or something, they have little cells, or a beehive. Each individual little hole in the comb is considered a cell. So it's all enclosed and it's by itself. Now, if you click on the letters across the top and highlight these are all called columns. And if you think about columns, you think about the big white column poles like you see in front of a courthouse or something like that. So, then we'll move on. Now, if you click right here between the A and the B columns, you'll notice that my mouse turns into a little arrow. If when I click that, or just highlight it, just hover over it, you get the arrow. Then press your left click button, hold it down, and the entire line that separates column A from column B turns blue. Keep holding it down and you can drag it open wider or smaller. So that's how you change the width of your columns. It's the exact same way with your rows. If you hover between the 1 and 2, you'll see that my cursor becomes a double-ended arrow. Click and hold, you get a blue line all the way across. And that tells you that this is the line that you're moving. So if I want it to be wider, just drag it down and then let go. And then I've got a really fat box instead of a really short box. Now, for our calendar that we're going to do today, you want to have every day of the week. And days of the week start with Sunday. And listen, here's tip number 2. You generally want to just leave row 1 blank because you can always work with that later and start in row 2. Turn my sound down on my phone so you guys don't have to hear it dinging. There we go. Now, we're going to start with Sunday. Start with the days of the week. And just go straight across putting those in. And we can't forget Saturday, can we? Okay, now we've got our days of the week in there. We're going to need rows for our days of the month. Now, I thought that it would be a really good idea, since we're already in May, to do our calendar for the month of June. It's summertime. Some of you may have projects. I guess this year we're not going to have as many dates on the calendar for travel as normal, but that's okay. We'll still have some stuff to work with. Now, if you've got a phone handy, you can use your phone just to pull up a calendar and see what the days of the month, what days they fall on. So I'm going to open up this row with my days of the week on there just a little bit and drag that one open, just so it's a little bit fatter. Now, my number 3 row is going to be where my numbers are to start with. And June the 1st starts on a Monday. So we're going to put a 1 in here. Oops. Be sure you turn your numeric lock on if you're using your side pad. I did not. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 will be the first week of June. Now, we don't want to start the rest of our days in the very next row. The very next row, we want to pull it open wider, because this is where our box is that we'll put whatever special thing we're going to do that day. That's where we'll put it. Now we come down to 5, and this is where we'll go 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. And what do you think we're going to do with 6? We're going to open it up. There we go. And then 7, row 7, is where we start with where we left off here. We got 13 here. So if Saturday's the 13th, then Sunday's going to be 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Now we're going to highlight the entire row 8 and drag it open, just like we did earlier. See how much that's starting to look like a calendar already? Now, I use these calendars pretty readily this way, and I always leave row A blank and row 1, or column A blank and row 1 blank until I'm finished. It just gives me a better field of view to look at. So this should probably be our last week of the month normally, but I guess, nope, we got a few days that go on into the next one. So let's go ahead. Sunday will be 21. You see why, right? Because 20 was Saturday. Skip a line, then 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, and 27. And then we're going to drag that one open. And we got a few days left, so we're going to do row 11 is going to start with 28. Again, because 27 ended here. Guys, I know some of you all would enjoy this. I wish you could see it, but there's a big fat cat that keeps looking over the table here while I'm working. I had him up on the table earlier, but I was going to let you guys see him, but he didn't appear to want to stay there, so we'll just let him go. Maybe another video. Okay, now, row 12, we want to open it up because that is where we put our information for these 3 days. He's sniffing your guys' work that you sent me. That's what the kitty's doing. I'll tell you what, when I post this video on the Google Classroom, I'll put a couple of pictures of him sitting there next to the video. That way you guys can see what he's doing. Mr. Biggins, that's his nickname. Okay, let's get back to what we were doing. Now, we want to see how this would look if we were to print it. So let's go ahead and hit File and Print. And now you kind of get an idea of what it would look like printed. Now, you see it did leave that first column that I left empty is still showing. That's fine. We just mainly want to make sure that our days of the week do show up here. And this shows us that it doesn't take up a full sheet of paper. So We could technically open up some of those columns bigger if we need to, but we just wanted to go ahead and take one quick look at it just to make sure that it was going to fit on a piece of paper, and it does, so we're good there. So we hit cancel, come back, and look at it again. Now, some of you may want to go ahead, and I do want you to do this just so you can use the tools that's available to you, and this will kind of help you get used to them. You can highlight this whole thing and make the entire heading columns one color. And I'm going to make mine, let's make them purple. Okay? Now, or I could say, I think purple and yellow is cool together. Or how about some summer colors? And when you think of summer colors, what do you think of? I think of tropical colors, like something to do with the beach, or fruity drinks, something like that. Something like a big tall glass of lemonade with ice in it or something. But you use whatever you want. I think this is maybe a pretty summer color. So now I've changed all of that to this teal color. But if I wanted to do just one, I just need to click on the one cell. Come here to your paint bucket and pick a color. Now, I want my heading letters to be larger than the letters in all the other cells. And here's where I do that. I just want to click on the cell that I want to change the size of the letters for, and then come up here where you see a little number and a drop down that says font size. Right now it's sitting on 10, so I think I'm going to make that a 12. So see, it made it go up just a little bit bigger than all the rest of them. So I'm going to go through and do that for each one. Now, here is one of the reasons why I prefer Excel to Google Sheets. This is something that you could just, if you are on a computer that has Microsoft Office and you try to do this on Excel, you only had to do the first one, and then you could click on each individual one and just hit the F4 key, and it would just keep repeating the last thing that you did. Now I want to differentiate where my numbers are, and you can do this in whatever color you want, but I'm going to choose a very dark color. Something that kind of matches with the theme here. So how about that? That's kind of pretty, right? But I don't want to go through and do it for every single one. So I'm going to highlight them all. I'm going to hit the paint bucket for fill and put that color in. And that one stayed a little darker. That's okay. Go back to it. Make it white. And now go back to the color that I want. There we go. And that one seems to want to stay a little bit darker shade, but that's okay. You see how to do this. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to make all of these my blue that I chose. There we go. Now they're matching. And I'm only going to do this where my numbers are. Okay? And I know some of you are probably thinking, because you guys think quick, well, now I can't see the numbers anymore. All I can see is the color. We're going to fix that. Okay, now we have all of our numbers shaded in. So we want our numbers to show up better. So let's do this. We can make them darker by doing this. See how dark those are now? Or we can, and this is what I like to do, not the paint bucket, because that fills up your background color. Right here, where it shows the letter A with a little line under it, that means you only want to change the color of your text. And I like white, and it's still not a very bold white, so now that I've changed the color and I'm still clicked on that row of cells, I'll change it to bold by clicking that little B right there. So now they're all white, and I think I might kind of like that better. But for what we're doing, I'm just going to go ahead and bold in the rest of them. And you can change the size of these too, but since we're kind of making this part of our cell, I probably wouldn't unless you're planning on going really big with it. Now, we've got that part finished. Now we want to put in some important dates. So, what is something in the month of June? I don't know if any of you are getting to go on a vacation this year, but let's just pretend that we're all going on a cruise on Tuesday, June the 2nd. It would be fun, but we'll just pretend for now. So we've clicked in here. It's showing us a 10, and that's probably fine for inside here. And you just start typing. Let's say Bahama Cruise. Okay, we need to make it a little bit longer. So that's the date. Let's see. Let's make it say, choose our arrows. Double click back here and say leave on Bahama Cruise. And you're thinking, oh no, look what just happened. It took up both of my cells. Okay, it did, but there's a fix for that. Let me show you how to do this. Click that cell again, and you want all those words to stay inside that cell. So what you want to do is while you're clicked on it, come up here and hit Format, Align, nope, Text Wrapping. Now I'm just hovering this, I'm not clicking. Just hover that, and right now it's checked to overflow. And that's exactly what our letters just did. They overflowed into the next cell, and we don't want that to happen. So we're going to check Wrap and watch. Boom. It saved it for you already. It makes the lines of text wrap so that they will fit inside the cell. Now, some of you might be thinking, okay, well, I don't like the way the letters are on the bottom. I wish they were up at the top. I don't like that at all. If you don't like that, that's fine. Just click on the cell that you're working on. Go back up to Format. Now come down where it says Align. And again, I'm just hovering. I'm not clicking. On Align, you'll notice over here it says left, center, and right. And then down here it says top, middle, and bottom. Well, if you want it to stay left, but you know all your lines to start at the left, but you want it to be at the top and not the bottom of your cell, just make sure that your check mark is on left, which ours is, and top, which ours wasn't, but now it is, and it moved it to the top. On our next day, let's say we're stopping on our imaginary cruise, that we're going to stop at Nassau, which some people call the Pirates Island. So we'll just put it in like that. We'll put the Pirate Island. And trust me, guys, if Miss Tammy could go on a cruise, which I'm afraid of the water, I probably couldn't, that's exactly where I would want to go. Now, this one fit, but just barely. So let's change our text just a little bit because this day is more important. It's like the favorite place I would go. So let's change our size to just a little bit bigger than the day we leave, which I did. I made it an 11. And now it goes out of the lines again. So what do? We go to Format, Text Wrapping, and wrap it just like we did before. Now this time it's on the bottom again, but I don't want this to be on the top. This is like the most important day, so I'm going to go to Format. I'm going to go back to Align. I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to leave it on left. I want the top to be in the middle, not all the way to the left line. So it put it in the middle, see? But that's not even enough. This is a really important day, so let's go back to Align again, and I want it to be in the very middle, going up and down. So there we are. Now it's right in the very middle. Now, let's say this was your birthday party, and we know that's super important. So we want to even go a step further and make sure this day is saw over all of them. So now we're going to highlight it. If I can find my little highlighter. Sometimes it'll be right here. That's where it should be, but if you've got all of your stuff kind of condensed for space, and that does happen sometimes, you just leave it up in here. Let's see. Click it. You could just do this right here. Go to your fill color and choose a really light shade. Like, okay, this yellow right here, you'll see it's really light. It's not very dark. So that day's even more special to me. Now I can bold it, or I can even make the letters appear sideways like that. You can play with this, guys, and you can do a lot of different things. And that's really what I want you to do with this assignment. It's basically, I want you to learn where all your tools are, where all your controls are. Like on my desktop computer, I know where everything is on it. I'm using a laptop right now so that I can do this recording. And it's slightly different, but it's just because I'm on a different machine. Now, when you kind of get your basic grid going here, before you get too deep into it, you know, I know a lot of people say save all the time. I tell you that all the time. Save and save some more. And that's what we should do on Excel. This is one of the good things about using Google Sheets rather than Excel to do spreadsheets, is it automatically saves everything you do. You don't have to ever remember to save it. But you do need to remember to click up here and put in a name. And I'm going to call this my June calendar. And you can call it whatever you want to call it. You can call it my happy month if you want. That's fine. Now I'm going to scoot this down a little bit. And now one of the things that you may have noticed when we looked at the print screen of what this would look like if we printed it is that your days kind of look like they run together here, don't they? They do. And I'm going to go ahead and pop in a few extra days. Like, okay, let's say for Friday the 12th, we're going to have a big family backyard barbecue. BBQ. And again, it all ran over. So what do? We go Format, Wrap. There we go. And we'll put something in here for the 15th. Well, let's put some on the 14th there. Say this is a church homecoming dinner. Now, I don't know that it is. It might coincidentally be the week you do it, but it's usually a summer event. So, text wrapping, wrap. There we go. And we could say this week, so this is the week you leave for camp. I don't know that any of you are, but this is our imaginary June events. Okay. Now, you can change the color of your text on each of these, like leave for camp. When I think of camp, I think of outdoors, so I would probably choose my text to be green. And because green text is so much lighter, I would probably also hit bold. And if this was a date I was looking forward to, I would change the letters again, or the text size again. Now, if you do that, again, it made it go outside the lines. So you want to come up here and hit wrap and leave it there. Now, we want all of our little cells to show up individually. Now, you want to start with the first day of the month. Now, if you want it to have an outline on it or to have lines in between each one, just like the calendar that hangs on the wall, all you do is, and let's find it up here in our, nope, it's formulas. It's usually right, nope, right here it is, borders. Now, you can choose to have it just border one line, one side of your cell, or all sides. I like this one right here that says outer borders because it does all of it. And again, this is a spot where it's really nice if you're using Microsoft Excel to just hit F4 and keep repeating that. But it's probably good practice for us just to do it manually today anyway. So just keep clicking it and go to that one there. And just keep repeating that all the way through your cells. Just these boxes, not where your numbers are. I mean, you could, but it all depends on how you want it to look. And I think this looks really well. I used to use this as the method that I put the calendar on the school's website. But I finally designed myself a template that I can just keep reusing. But it was designed using this method. I used Excel sheets to do it, but I could have just as easily done it right here. The good thing about using Microsoft Sheets for a lot of your spreadsheets is that you can access them from anywhere because it's all online based. You don't, like for me as a teacher, if I'm at school and I'm needing a sheet that I created at home, for example, the little library do cards that's in your library books, I made those using this. And if I had done it on Excel, it would be stuck on my desktop computer at home, which is where I made it. But I used Google Sheets. That way, when I log into my email, my Google account at school, here's all my spreadsheets, and I can access it from here. So now we've got all of our little cells enclosed, and they look really good. Let's go ahead and enclose these up here where the days of the week are. And I don't want those to be individual little cells. I want it to be all of them. Now you can do it how you want to. I'm just doing it this way to show you. So instead of clicking on just Saturday, I'm going to click on Sunday, and I'm going to hold down that left click button and drag it all the way over to Saturday, just like we did with our colors. And now I'm going to click on the outer border again. Now here's something else you can do. When you put that outer border in, you can make it bold just like you did your letters. So there, I bolded my border, I bolded my days of the week, all with one click. Now, let's go back. We've pretty much got our calendar completed here, guys. I mean, you could change around how you do the colors and the design and all that. That's up to you. I see something I forgot, and you know what? I'll bet you one of you guys would have reminded me real quick. I can just see it now. I would get an email or a comment on Google Classroom real fast telling me, Miss Tammy, you forgot to make a box for the end of the month. You know what? I did. So let's go back to File and hit Print, and let's just see what it would look like on paper. Now, it looks like we've got a little bit of a problem, doesn't it? It's kind of small. We want it to be bigger, don't we? Okay, well, the easiest way to do that is hit Cancel and go back. Now, we want to make that A column tiny because we really don't need it to be big at all. And we just want our grid lines to show here. So there, I've highlighted the entire part that we worked on. This is the most important part, so it doesn't really matter if the rest of the page has lines on it, but we went ahead and put some lines here on this. And let's get the rest of those days in there. How did I miss that? I must have been talking about vacationing at Nassau Island, huh? The Pirates Island? I would love to go there, but I'm afraid to get on a cruise ship, so I don't know. Might never happen. That's the only way I know to get there right now. Okay, so here's our main body. Now, what we can do is we can go back to Print, and we can choose to have this fit to width, or fit to height, or fit to page. So if we do fit to page, let's see what happens. Apparently nothing. Do we want it to show the grid lines, or do we want it to not show the grid lines? Well, we've already highlighted in the only area that we want, so if I say don't show grid lines, it makes the parts that we did not highlight go away. So that's good, and we do want to do that. Alignment, do you want it just like on the inside with our text when we chose where we wanted it, top or bottom of the cell? Same way here, you can choose to have this appear in the center, to the top, or center, which would be that. Now, if you want to make that bigger, you know that we can stretch these a little bit this way, a little bit this way, this way. There you go. Almost there. Now let's go ahead and check it again. Sunday through Saturday all fit, so that looks good. Now we might want to stretch it a little bit vertically for the up and down. So let's go back and do that. Maybe we just want to make our little boxes that we can type stuff in a little bit bigger and leave everything else the same. That actually works out really well, guys. It might have made us too much though, so let's go look and see. Let's hit print again. Maybe. Margins, here we go. Narrow. Headers. Nope, good. We didn't want any of those checked. We just forgot to open this one up a little bit. There we go. Let's check one more time. Print. And there we are. I kind of like the way it looks, don't you? And if you want to print, you just go ahead and hit next and print. Now, I'm not going to print it. I don't even have this laptop connected to a printer right now. But notice you called this June calendar. I want to show you how to get back to this, and then this will be the end of the video. I want you to use all of the tools at your discretion. Use these to do whatever you want to. We will do another lesson. If we can't do it next week, then we will do it in the fall. But I do a whole section on Microsoft Excel and Google Sheets. So at some point, especially older kids, I'm going to go into formulas and graphs and all the different things. You can do a number of things with spreadsheets. But this is just a simple little assignment that will kind of help you get used to feeling your way around in spreadsheets and how to use some of the options that are there for you. I wouldn't want to jump you straight into doing, formulas and calculations and graphs until you kind of knew your way around in it. So that's basically what this is now. If I close this all together, I'm back at my classroom. But if I want to go to my Google Drive or where my Google Sheets are, I can just go click on this and then go straight to Drive. And here is all the different things that I have in Drive, and all of it's not spreadsheets. Look, this says library log. This is what I use to keep track of your library books and who's checked out what. Is all a spreadsheet that I designed in Google Sheets. Very simple. Your passwords for your Study Island and ExactPath, they are on a sheet in here. If you created something that you sent me through Google Classroom, it comes in here as a sheet. There's tons of different things that I use this for. Many things, actually. So I want you to go ahead and give that a try. I can't wait to see what you come up with. I mean, you may just kind of venture on and use some more tools, even more than what I showed you. And you're welcome to do that. I just don't want this video to take, an hour. So none of you are going to want to sit through that. So go ahead and give it a shot. Then send me your work, and this will be a really easy way to send your work too. Let's see, I've got another page open here where I'm actually a student. And it will help me do this. Go to my classroom on my other email account, because I've got myself signed up as a student here in some classes. So let's say I want to turn something in for Computer Lab. We'll go to classwork and see what types of assignments there are here. So let's say I'm going to do the Cincy Lane. Okay, it says it's missing. That's because I haven't turned it in. Now, if I want to turn this in, hit View Assignment. And now here's my assignment. Over here it says Add or Create, mark as done. I don't need to create, I just want to add. So let's just pretend that this was our Google Sheets assignment for our calendar. And Miss Tammy needs to turn hers in. So I'm going to go to it's Create New. I'm going to go to Google Drive. And if I just click Recent, it's going to show me what recent documents are here. Now, I actually did the Google Sheets on the other email account, so it's not there. But let's see all right, my 2020 yearbook orders. Let's see who all ordered yearbooks for 2020. So I just click on that one. If that was my calendar, I would just click on it there and hit Add. Now it's added it to the assignment. Now when I turn it in and hit Turn In, it sent that through. Okay. Now, Miss Creech is later going to come to her email, and she is going to get a notification that Tammy Creech has submitted it. It says I submitted it late, but I submitted this assignment. And when I click on it, it will take, they may not want you to know, so I'm not going to leave that up there, but it does give me the opportunity to look at your work and send you a grade straight through Google Classroom. That way you don't have to wait until you get your report card to find out. Now, if you send it to me through text messages, emails, things like that, then it's not going to show up right here. You're not going to get the grade through Google Classroom. You'll get it, either when you get your report card or if I email you a comment letting you know what your grade is. So try that today, guys. I want to see how you do. I'm really looking forward to seeing it, and I'm sorry this video took so long, but you can take your time and use the tools that you have, and feel free to venture on and use a few extra. You don't have to stick with just what I showed you. So let's go ahead and get started. Thanks, guys.